Welcome to Cooking with Andrea. Today we're going to be making a wonderful filet mignon beef pasta. So I'm really excited. And I also wanted to thank you guys. This is going to be my 100th video. I wanted to thank you for watching, and I appreciate the subscriptions and all the wonderful comments that I've received, especially in the last few months. So I just wanted to say thank you because cooking is one of the most wonderful, peaceful things I do. I always call it therapy, and I don't even have to pay for it technically. So I wanted to just thank you for coming in and cooking with Andrea. So we're going to get started. I've got some great things to show you. First of all, I had 3 nice pieces of filet mignon this size. They're right here. I'm going to finish cutting that up in just 1 minute. I have my wonderful pappardelle pasta, and I'm going to go ahead and add my salt because my water is boiling. And then I'm going to let this put in a half a teaspoon of salt. I'm just going to give it a just a little stir in my pasta water. And then I am going to go ahead and drop some in. I got the little Nest. I love buying this pasta. It is so good. One of my favorites. Oh my gosh, I just love eating this kind of pasta. Okay, so I'm going to get it all in. And then I'm just going to go ahead and let it boil. I'm going to turn on my timer. I'm going to time it for 14 minutes. I always time my pasta. Sometimes pasta needs more, sometimes it doesn't. And what I always say is make it the way you want it and the way your family will eat it. Groceries are very expensive. So I'm going to take and continue to cut up the filet mignon. And I just cut it in strips like this. Not too thick, but not too thin. Because it's a good piece of meat. And this is how I normally make my beef pasta. I also make sirloin tips and noodles. One thing different is there's no wine in my sirloin tips and noodles, and it's obviously a different kind of meat. But my family really loves this filet mignon beef pasta. It has a half a cup of wine in it. And my mom loves this meat. This is my mom's favorite. And I tell, hey, whatever you want, Mom, you get. Especially when you have 78-year-old teeth. You need good beef. Not only that, we are beef connoisseurs in our family. I'm probably a meat and taters kind of gal. That would be my favorite kind of dinner. My husband, my son. My mom likes fried fish a lot too, but my husband and my son are probably the surf and turf guys. They really like both. So I always say I'm the meat and taters girl. So this is why I use the filet mignon. It's a very good cut of meat. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to turn on my little NuWave. I take off this part of the fat if I do happen to get any off my filet mignon, but when you buy, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you where I buy my meat. I buy my filet mignon only from Costco. Very rare do I buy it from somewhere else because the price is a lot higher. But at Costco, I feel that the filet mignon is worth paying that extra $1 because filet mignon is very expensive. We don't eat it every day. And now that I'm getting older, we don't eat steak like we used to. We used to eat steak a lot. But, you know, this getting old stuff can be for the birds. So you got to really watch what you consume and how much you consume. So I'm going to go ahead and put mine on medium high and get my NuWave started. Okay, so I'm going to take my little, that's all the fat that I got off all 3 pieces. And that's going to be plenty. I probably will not use it all in my pasta. I'll reserve a little bit for the side. I'll cheat and make nice burritos or something wonderful out of it tomorrow with my leftovers. Or I'll make maybe salad with a little pieces of steak on it. I'm just going to clean my knife because I have the meat on my knife. And so I'm just going to clean it off. So that's my 3 pieces of filet mignon. Okay, I'm just going to give it just a rough little seasoning. And I'm going to use lemon pepper like I always do. I'm not going to season it a whole lot because, you know, I have a lot of seasonings coming into everything. I've got fresh garlic. and stuff like that as well. But I also want to show you how I make this gravy. This gravy is a good gravy. I'm going to use all my drippings from something that I cooked the other day in my crock pot. So I have 2 mushrooms here. They're large mushrooms. And I kind of keep them kind of thick because I don't want them to break up. And if I keep them thick, I can even trim them afterwards. But because I'm going to saute them in butter and the meat drippings and garlic, it's going to taste wonderful. Okay, so that's 3 mushrooms. And one of those, my knife has to be very dry. I do not want to screw up and cut myself. Okay, so I have about 6 pieces of garlic here, 6 little cloves. I'm just going to chop. Remember, when you're cutting garlic, tuck your fingers. You can smash it, but I'm a cutter. I cut all the time. I cook every day, sometimes multiple times per day. I'm one of those, you know. Always have been one of those. Love to cook. Now that, you know, I'm getting older, I really appreciate it because, you know, back in the day when the kids were young, you know, you're always running here and there. Now I'm older, the kids are all grown. So now I have more time to just sit and cook. Okay, I'm going to check my pasta. Okay, my nests are coming out. Okay, my pan's nice and hot. I'm going to take 1 tablespoon of butter. I'm going to move it around like that. It's nice and hot. I'm going to drop my meat. Let me get my little fork out. Okay, so I'm going to basically cook my meat to medium rare. I do not want my meat cooked too much. Some pieces will be medium, but I'm going to cook it like that. And then I'm going to dump it in this bowl here. And then I'm going to go ahead and cook the mushrooms and the garlic. So now what I'm doing is I'm just chopping my garlic because I'm really excited to show you how I do my gravies. I don't normally make too many gravies on the channel scratch because, you know, they take a little bit longer. A lot of times I'll have them already made. That's why I do it that way. Okay, and that's why I don't waste all this time, and I can show you what you guys want to do. Now, with your beef pasta, use whatever kind of meat you want, but I'm going to tell you something. If you use good meat, you're going to come out with a fantastic, fantastic dinner. A lot of times if I don't use filet mignon, I use a ribeye, to be honest. Costco has a ribeye, and I'm going to throw Costco's name out because, you know, I can find it a lot cheaper there, and groceries are expensive. I don't have money to waste, but I want to make good meals, you know, for my family and for myself. You know, especially like I always say, oh, this getting old's for the birds. Well, you can't eat as much like you used to when you were younger and get by with it. Not good for you. So, I either use the filet mignon or I use the ribeye, and I do buy it from Costco because it's such a good price and the meat tastes fantastic. Okay, so I got mine on medium high. I'm going to turn it up now that my butter's incorporated and the meat has released a little bit of juice. I'm going to turn mine up to high because now what I want to do is I just want to get it cooked. A lot of times also too, when I make this, I'll put my steak out on the grill. Sometimes I love that charred taste. That's a good taste. Multiple ways to do this. You know, that's one thing where I say cooking is kind of fun. You can have a lot of fun. Interesting. So I'm just going to keep getting my garlic chopped up. I like my garlic real fine. I don't want big, heavy-duty pieces in mine. And that's how my family likes it. And we rather eat fresh because it's better for us. So it's not like I'm on a health kick or anything. I try to have a manage of everything. I figure, you know, if I do everything in moderation, it'll be better. But, you know, I also believe in using stems of the vegetables for soup broth. I do a lot of that. I believe that we should use every part of the animal, even the fat, in my opinion. And I don't expect anybody to agree with me. And to each his own. And then also, when you're busy, working, kids, everything, life. You know, you don't always have time to do what I can do now. Because honestly, back in the day, I didn't have time to take time to do this, to save this, to pull apart the meat jelly, the meat fat, all that other good stuff. I'm just checking my noodle, just pulling my little nests apart. Oh, looks good. Looks beautiful. It's all salted. Meat smelling delicious. Okay, garlic's good enough. Now this is what I'm really excited to show you guys, because this is going to be incorporated. That's what's going to make my gravy. So I'm going to move this over. I'm going to flip my board. Nice clean side. Thank God. 2 sides to a board. Otherwise I'd be in trouble. Okay, I made a beef ribs the other day. Very good cut of beef ribs. And so what I did is I took it out of my crock pot and I put this in the refrigerator immediately, and I put it in a round bowl for 2 purposes. Look at how this is going to form. Okay, so if you do it this way or just put it in on a dish too, it's going to come out really wonderful. This is exciting. So this is my meat jelly I always tell you about, and this is my lard. And see how it separates itself? Well, I already took 3 little pieces with my 1 teaspoon measuring. So I'm using this to flavor my meats and so forth. So this is kind of a cool thing. This is meat jelly. This is how you make your fresh gravies from scratch. That is so cool. I love doing this. And then I take my actual fat, because I do buy lard, and this would be your lard. So I do buy manteca. When I do fresh refried beans from scratch, or if I'm doing something that calls for animal fat, most of the time I use canola oil. But this is what I have my manteca in. So what I'm going to do is, as I chop that off, I'm not going to do it here because I'm cooking for you guys today so I can show you my recipe. But after I'm done cooking today, I'll go ahead and separate this. I'll freeze half this meat jelly, and then I'll take it out and I'll just use it. So what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to show you how I did it before, since everything is cooking. And this is how I make my gravies from scratch. Reason I don't use too much salt on things is because look at, there's all these beautiful, beautiful seasonings in there from cooking them, but I don't want any of the fat. So I'm going to take out another hunk, and I would say that's about 3 tablespoons right there. And this is what I'm going to use besides the beef broth to flavor my gravy. A lot of times I don't even need to use regular beef broth. I can just use water because I have this beautiful meat jelly. But I just wanted to show you this because, like I told you, I'm kind of into using everything, the whole meat. Well, look at that. I got a piece of meat. Might as well just throw that in there. And then look at, I have the fat. Well, now you know how I make mine and what I do. That's why I like to crock pot pork and beef and chicken, because if I do, then that's the goodness that I get back from it. Also, I can use that for my broths, when I make ramen soups, when I make regular chicken noodle soup. I have all this stuff. This is beautiful. Okay. This is fantastic. Oh, looking fantastic here. Okay, so I think I have everything cut. I'm going to clean my workspace for just a minute. And I'm going to sear real high for just 1 minute. I just moved my heat to max here. But my beef is pretty much the way I want it. I don't need it done super. I'm going to put it in its broth, or the gravy that I make for it. Okay. Okay, we got about 2 minutes on our pasta, or a minute and a half. We're going to go ahead and just let it finish cooking like that. We're going to try it. So now I'm going to turn this off. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead And I am going to pull my meat out. Because I'm going to keep some of these juices here. And I don't want to touch the bit at the bottom of my pan. I'm going to just pull it out. Looks fantastic. Smells fantastic. I love that thing called Smell Vision. I really wish it would exist. I love when the chefs say that. Because gosh, sometimes it just smells delicious. I wasn't hungry, but because it smells so good, and I'm like, oh, I'm hungry now. We were working in our garden earlier. I've got strawberries. I'm so excited. Everything's coming. I've got lettuce. It's beautiful. Okay, so I have my pan back here. I'm going to start it at medium-high start. I got to move it down. That's what my meat looks like. Meat's in pretty big chunks. Looks fantastic. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm just going to let that sit like that. There's enough juice and goodness in there, which makes me really happy. I'm going to take another tablespoon of butter. There's my 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to drop my mushrooms because my mushrooms will take a little bit longer. And I only want to bloom my garlic. Okay. So my timer just went off. I'm going to check my pasta. And like I said, very important that you do your pasta like you like. Some people like it al dente and some people don't. Ow, ow, ow. That's a hot one. Oops. Make a noise today. Let's try a piece. You're going to be the noisy person today. Okay, in my opinion, needs just a few minutes more. Okay, that's what the package says to cook it, but I know my family, they won't eat it that way. So I'm going to go 3 more minutes. And then I believe it'll be done. Okay. Okay. Now let me go ahead and move my board a little bit closer, or my pan. I'm just making a mess today. Okay, I'm gonna have to turn my heat down a little bit because mine will cook real fast. My NuWave is a hot cooker. Boy, it's really nice to boil water. Instead of boiling water here on the stovetop, which takes longer, I usually use this. But this one is perfect to mix sauces in and stuff. It's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, I'm going to use just a little bit more butter. My mushrooms are awfully big. Just a teeny bit. I didn't even put a teaspoon in there, just to put a smidge. And you'll be able to tell because you don't want your stuff to burn. That's one thing you don't want to do is burn anything. And like I said, these mushrooms are huge. But it's okay, I just need to get them to a point where they're soft and then they will also cook in the sauce. Okay, now here's my garlic. I got my really nice chopped up garlic. So glad you got to see how I do my meat jelly that I always talk about. That's a wonderful way to use everything you can use from the animal. Like I said, for the vegetables, a lot of times I'll use the tops too. I use the bones too because see, when you use tops of vegetables, even though you're not going to eat it, you can cook with it. That's what makes all your fresh broths. It's a lot cheaper too. And then, you know what I noticed when COVID hit a long time ago? It's not been that long, but when it hit, I noticed I couldn't find certain things in the store that I needed to find. And so I learned, oh heck, do this, this, and that, and you're good to go. So that's how I started learning about that, you know, because before I didn't take the time, I was really busy and just really didn't know. And but boy, my food tastes so much better. Your food will taste so much better. But let me tell you something. when it's not processed, you know, it does not taste like processed food. So you have to learn and go back and learn how to eat things because they're not the same. But let me tell you, once you do that, boy, you're going to notice your food is just so delicious. Just so delicious. Okay, so this is where I'm going to take, let you know, I have 4 cups of beef broth. But because we use that meat jelly, you know, you don't really need it. You're good. You're good. I have 1 cup, or a half cup actually, of red wine. If you don't want the red wine in there, do not use it. You do not have to use it. Use the meat jelly. Use the broth. You don't have to use this. It just gives it a different taste. You know, I got this idea from a friend, so I tried it and decided, oh, hey, I like it. It's kind of funny though. I do not drink at all. Cooking nice. I'm just gonna go ahead and it smells delicious. The garlic. I'm just gonna go ahead and drop my wine in here. Wine will be very potent and pungent, especially if you're not used to drinking it or cooking with it. Like you can smell. All I can smell right now is the wine in the house right now. So what I'm gonna do is let this reduce by half, because this is a flavoring agent, but it tastes really good. Like if you eat chicken marsala, you're having wine in it because chicken marsala has wine. Never knew that in my life. It's so funny. I learned some things, but you're never too old to learn. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1 teaspoon of thyme right now, and I'm going to put it in. Thyme is a very potent spice, but I've tried it many times. With half teaspoon, I don't think I achieved as much flavor. A whole teaspoon, I achieved the flavor, and I really didn't taste it, especially with the wine and all the wonderful stuff. So that's what I'm going to use, is 1 teaspoon of thyme. And basically, that's all the seasoning I'm using because, you know, my beautiful meat jelly, the broth that I have here, garlic, the mushrooms. Okay, I have the dropsies today. I guess we're all entitled once in a while to have the dropsies. As soon as this reduces by half, what I'm going to do is then put my meat jelly in, and then I'm stock in, so we'll be good there. And then pretty much our dish is done. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my meat jelly and put it in this bowl because I don't want my lard to sit out or my meat jelly to sit out. But I did want to show you this because this is a big part of cooking, who I am, how I like to cook, and how wonderful it is. And you get to use every part of the animal. You don't have to worry about throwing something away. And remember, if you don't have time to do that, you do not have to do that. That's a personal preference. But I think using the animal and every part of the vegetable I can is good for me, money-wise. And then it makes me feel really happy that me and my family are eating everything of the animal. Now, I'm never going to claim to cook healthier or better or anything like that. I like to eat. I got issues. I like to eat. But I do like cooking with my fresh vegetables. I do like doing that kind of stuff. I think it tastes really well. I feel very pleased, very blessed that I'm feeding my family a little bit better. I'm going to try my noodle. I'm going to leave it for 1 more minute because you know how I told you it's how your family likes it? My husband would say that's almost done. He likes his pasta done a certain way, so does my son. My mom, she'll eat anything I give her. She's really easygoing. She's like, oh no, honey, it tastes so good. Okay, so this is reduced by half. So this is good. I just wanted to let you know it's reduced by half. Okay, and one thing cool about this beef pasta with the wine in it, it's going to make your gravy just a little red. It's kind of cool. So I'm going to take the 4 cups of beef broth. I'm going to put it in here. Oh, I get to mix it around because there's bits on the bottom. Okay, so we started our meat in this pot. We left the bits, the goodness. And we did our garlic and our mushroom. Now I'm going to turn it up to high because I want it to start a boil. And we put our thyme in there. Smells delicious. I don't think I put that on for 1 minute. I think I put that on for less than 1 minute. That's funny. That went off really fast. Okay, so remember I have my 3 teaspoons of meat jelly. And this is all, it's basically like a beef broth cube is all it is. It's like, that's all that is. It is fantastic, but boy, that's meat that cooked for like 10 hours. So it's got a whole lot of flavor. And then when I do crock potting, I use lots of seasoning. Parsley, lemon pepper, onion powder, garlic powder. Or I'll use fresh herbs. But a lot of time when I crock pot, I use that kind of herb, the dry herb. Okay, so what we're going to do is let this sit and we're going to let it cook for a few minutes, get nice and warm. I'm going to go ahead and drain my pasta now. Okay, I'm not going to rinse my pasta. I just drained it because pretty soon I'm going to put it in. So we're going to let this come to boil. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my cornstarch slurry. And after this comes to boil, I'm going to taste this and see if it has all the flavorings I like. And if it does, we're good to go. But I actually am going to come back because this is going to take a good 5 minutes to come to where it needs to be a gravy base. So in 5 minutes, I'll be back, and then that's when I'll mix the cornstarch slurry, and we'll put it in there together. Then we'll let it cook for a few minutes. So we'll be right back. Welcome back. Okay, this has been boiling for about 5 minutes now, which we want it to boil because that's the wine out of it, which is good. You don't want it to be too winey. Let me see here. Oh, you can taste the thyme, the garlic, everything's fantastic. The wine has cooked down enough. When it has too much wine, it doesn't taste as good. Okay, so I'm going to take 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. This is how I'm going to make my gravy. So I'm going to thicken my gravy. How I made my gravy was all those beautiful meat juices, things, herbs, things like that. So we're going to do 3. I always make a mess with flour and cornstarch. Boy, I can make a mess like nobody's business. Good thing I do not mind cleaning up. Okay, I cheated so I wouldn't have to go to the faucet and walk away from you guys. I'm going to put 3 tablespoons of water because I put 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. Now I'm going to mix like crazy. So funny, if you don't mix it right away, it gets all stuck on the bottom. And then it takes power to get it unstuck, and then you're fine and dandy in just a minute. But it's so funny how it can stick together so well. Okay, let me just go ahead, clean this little mess up, put my water bottle back in the refrigerator, and we're good to go. But this is what's going to make our gravy. It's going to make it nice and thick. Okay, yeah, I have to move all the white away from me because otherwise it'll be on my shirt. White and black don't match right here as far as t-shirts. You'll look messy. Okay, let me get my whisk. So basically all you're going to do is whisk this in. Keep whisking though. If you do not whisk, you will have lumps. You do not want lumps in your gravy. Okay? Now just keep whisking though. This is the very important part. You gotta whisk. You do not want any lumps. Oh, looks fantastic, smells fantastic. Now, we are going to do one more test as far as seasoning goes after we cook this down for just a few minutes. I never really season, because I season heavily all the time. So I kind of wait until after I'm done, especially because I know I'm using the heavy seasoned meat drippings or meat jelly, like I call it. And then I know I use the garlic, I use butter, and then I have the meat actual flavor because we cooked it that way. And then I did put lemon pepper on the meat, so I do feel I have a lot of flavors. And then the wine will flavor it, the beef stock flavors. Oops, don't get crazy. I'm getting crazy today. Dropping things, whisking a little too hard. Okay, so I have this on high so I can see the bubbles, and I'm sure you can see the bubbles too because I can see the camera too. So we need to turn this down to medium because it's too hot now. And now what we want to do is just let it cook for a few minutes to incorporate, which is great. Okay, beautiful. Mushrooms look great. Garlic tastes fantastic in there. I don't have too much wine. Sometimes I use a whole cup of wine. Sometimes I think it comes out a little winier, but a half a cup is perfect. You don't need much. Like I said, we're not wine connoisseurs. Me and my husband had to look it up to make sure that, we had a good wine. One day, I'm going to tell my hubby we're going to take a trip to the wine country, even though I really don't like wine. I tried expensive, medium, and cheap. Never liked it, but amazingly, my beef in my cooking, I love it. My chicken marsala, oh my gosh, I love it. It's beautiful. It gives it a whole different taste. Like when I make sirloin tips and noodles, that's just really a gravy based. The only thing I put in there is a half a cup of heavy cream so it's not so dark. So making this beautiful beef broth is delish. And it's a different dinner too because I get tired of eating the same old thing. Excellent. I got a little piece of meat too, the meat broth. Okay, so this is going to firm up. Now I want to show you, I had made a batch earlier so you could see it. Came out fantastic. Excellent. Fantastic. Okay, so this is already getting much, much thicker. Doesn't take long to get it thick. Okay, so what I'm going to do, just let it cook for just a few more minutes and then it'll be thicker and thicker. Yeah, it just needs a minute more. Okay, so, we're getting to the point where we're good to go. Just gonna go ahead and take this away. Get everything put nice. Get the counter. And what we're going to do is, I'm going to go ahead and incorporate everything. And then what we'll do is we'll put it on our serving dish. So, I kind of kept everything in the same container because I wanted all the juices to be that way. I wanted everything. I'm not even going to clean the bottom of this bowl. All I'm going to do is wipe it so it doesn't look messy right here on the sides. But I want that goodness in my bowl because that's pure flavor. And like I said, all I did was wipe the tops so it wouldn't be messy. I'm going to go ahead and give the meat a stir. Okay, and then we're going to put the noodles in. And it's going to be even thicker. This dinner is one of my really go-to dinners. I really like this dinner. This is like really nice family night, Sunday night dinner for us. Enjoy each other dinner. Be so grateful to God we have each other. So thankful for everything we have. You know, and this is just a really good dinner for all of us to sit down and eat. My whole family loves this. And this is a little splurgy dinner because there's filet mignon. Like I said, use a ribeye. And if you don't, I've really found really good prices at Costco. And I really am a good shopper. I really know my prices. It's not like, oh, I don't know. You know, I like to shop. That's my thing. And so I think this is a beautiful, luxurious, I should say, dinner. Has the filet mignon. It has the beef, wine sauce. It has the beautiful noodle. This noodle is a luscious, scrumptious, hearty noodle. Now, I'm going to take one more taste now that it's thicker. And now I'm going to turn it off because guess what? Your gravy will thicken more once you turn it off. And so this is a wine based because I don't want it so thick. I want to enjoy it. But what I'm doing is I put the noodles in and the meat. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to try the sauce. That is excellent. That is absolutely excellent. I encourage you to try this dinner. This is a very nice, this would be a very nice anniversary dinner. Okay, I've just got fresh ground pepper. My husband buys it, and he grinds it really well for me because I like pepper like crazy. Just a teeny bit of salt, not too much. Lots of pepper. We love pepper in our family. But I encourage you guys to make this dish, or you to make this dish for a special night, a Sunday dinner. It's worth the extra few dollars you're going to spend. Also, I'm going to tell you a secret. I actually was watching prices at Costco, and I actually got this for like $2 less than what they normally sell the filet mignon for. They had a deal. Boy, I picked up a couple packages. And then anytime I go to Costco, that one package becomes 2 packages for me because we don't eat that amount of meat at one time. So I encourage you to cut it down. But I want to thank you for coming in and cooking with me, Andrea. Oh, let me go ahead and get it served up for you so you can see how it looks. And then we'll take one more bite, although I think I've taken a few bites. And I want to just thank you for coming in and cooking with me. I appreciate you very much. And I thank you very much. And if you like the content, if you would please like and subscribe and share with somebody else, I'd be most grateful. And I'm very thankful once again. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to hold it like that. And then, if you have a little fresh parsley, I would say a little fresh parsley. If you don't have any fresh parsley, this one will do. I always use this parsley. But the funny thing is I'm too short to get in my own cupboard right now. So we're gonna do what I normally do.
What? Ew, gross.
Oh. And that is the son. I should make him stand in front of the camera. But this is our wonderful, wonderful dinner. So if you like the content, please like and subscribe. And thank you for coming in and sharing a meal with me and my family.